So with this background, let me take you to this topic with what I will do is uh, we, we will we will be taking some questions in between so that it can become more interactive. First, let me introduce this so-called people talk about the new normal. I'm sure all of you have heard of this terminology called VUCA, volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity. I renamed it recently that VUCA to UNA. I have a request if you guys could keep it to silent mode, it will help everybody. So when I say novelty, what I mean is every day today, I think somebody has muted me also. Okay, fine. I'm out of that. Fine. Today it is COVID. We don't know what is coming on the way to us tomorrow. So every day we are waiting to see a new era, and that kind of scenario puts us into a lot of stress. When you go through a shock situation, this is what happens. This is a psychological model called Kubler-Ross model. When we get a shock like this, first, we don't accept it. We deny it. I'm not ready to accept this shock. Because of that, what will happen? Ideally, I should accept it, right? Normally, human being this is a behavior, typical behavior pattern of any individual. So we get into this mode of denial and then finally become angry. You can see that happening at our homes when we are working today. We get frustrated. Some of them start showing the signs of depression, and some eventually will start bargaining. Okay, let me agree for some settlements, and some probably without all these things straight away they accept it. I belong to that category. Whatever comes on the way, I accept it because that's what life taught me a lesson. Many people probably don't know the background. I was an entrepreneur. I became bankrupt. A whole lot of things I have seen in my life. After that, I learned a lesson. There are certain things which are not out of your control. Accept it. That saves you. If you study the pattern of stress management, that also around the same principles. When we accept the reality as fast as possible, we get rid of stress, we get rid of depression, we get rid of anger, so many other factors comes into picture. Now, the next thing is, with all these changes, with COVID era, this is what has happened around us. That our work style, we are now working from home. Even this webinar, you are watching me. I am running it from my home. You're also probably listening to me from your home. We have less pollution. We have a totally different health conscious community which we live. Business model is changing. We cannot travel. We have different forms of entertainment, and finally we are finding a situation that hey, Mother Earth is very important here. We have been looting this whole world, torturing the Mother Earth beyond the limit it can withstand. Now, probably you would see more and more people giving attention to the concept of sustainable development, pollution-free world, those kind of principles. And suddenly you also find family is important because to be a person like me, I've been shuttling across 10 countries, every week on an average 1 city, every month at least 2 countries. That was my schedule for all these years. Now suddenly I'm under house arrest, and my family finds me, I didn't know how they will react, because if you suddenly see a guy for a longer period at home also, it is a problem. So things have changed for us. And economics also, you see it's a lot of change in the last couple of months. People are now trying to move away from bigger cities. They're ready to settle down in smaller towns. And we live in a country, particularly in the Indian context, you can see that of late we are finding that the biggest pillar of our country, which is basically the domestic economy. Unlike many other countries, our biggest advantage is domestic economy. In today's scenario, that is actually our biggest advantage, because we don't have to worry about the imports are not happening. Suddenly immediately there is a problem, but long term, this can turn to a big advantage for our engineers who are coming up. And a lot of focus is now coming on R&D, health-related initiatives, local manufacturing. And now this is something which we need to, as teachers, we need to watch. Where should we guide our kids? Now, as teachers, when I look at it, you have primarily two responsibilities. One is looking after our career as a teacher. What do I learn? How do I grow? But the biggest responsibility on our shoulder is how do I guide my young engineers to find a growth path for them in their career? So from that perspective, these are the things probably you need to keep an eye on it. And to go further, to guide your students in a better way, you also need to know which are the industries which are winning now, right now. The vaccine development area, because you might ask me for an engineer, what is there in vaccine development? I have a lot of customers who are into clinical trials, medical devices. They're very busy now. They're trying their level best to accelerate the vaccine development trials, those kind of things. We also see a huge boom in communication related area. Telecom is booming like anything. Cloud computing is booming like anything. Online learning, learning management development, app development, telemedicine, online gaming, digital products, data science, cybersecurity. That's one of the biggest action points right now happening. And according to me, the next 8 to 10 years, the biggest job opportunity will be in the cybersecurity area. Because I work very closely with the various government agencies, probably not on the application security, more on from the strategic front. You hear about the cyber warfare, those kind of things. So that's where we work with a couple of government agencies to help those kind of agencies, how to prepare a defensive strategy to protect our critical infrastructure. Could be defense network, telecom network, power systems, those kind of stuff. And you also see suddenly, custom chip development. It's getting accelerated. I don't know how many of you observed last couple of days back, there was an announcement from Apple. The new generation iPhones will not have Intel chipsets. They're going to have their own custom SoC. Probably they're going to take some ARM core and develop that. So this is a new trend. You want to optimize your devices for high performance with high performance SoCs. And you probably will have a couple of, AI, ML implementation also into these kind of chipsets. You look at what companies like NVIDIA is doing. Those who are from the electronics background, those are the companies who are working aggressively on, hardware-based accelerated technologies on AML front. So this is a wave, and if you see all these areas, can you tell me that there is no action happening in the industry today? Because we work with all these kind of sectors. There is a lot of work which are coming up in this area. So my sincere request is understand these areas where the action is right now happening, so that you could guide your kids in a better direction. And again, the action doesn't stop. We have robotics, 3D printing, online streaming, OTT, Netflix, those kind of platforms, and industrial automation. Again, with high-end robotics, those kind of application. Because with COVID, one thing people realize that companies which are automated, you go to companies like Enfield, Chennai manufacturing facility. It's a highly complex manufacturing process where mostly it is a robotics driven, and you have a concept called cobots, right? Human being with robots working together on the same shop floor. So that is picking up, and you also have a new concept called gig economy. Means companies may not have full-time employees. Probably as a faculty, I might think about that. My services can be made available to whomever I want. And as a student, I might think that I'm ready to work for multiple employers at the same time. So this is the new reality which we are living in, and it also gives us boundary-less opportunities, which is not restricted to one country, to the whole world. Now we all talk about with COVID, healthcare is going to pick up. These are some of the areas healthcare is investments are happening. At the same time, the traditional healthcare areas. And I work with companies who are making, ultrasound scanners, high-end X-ray machines, those kind of stuff. And that's actually slightly going slow right now because hospitals are not ready, equipped to treat them because they're scared. Most of the hospitals are shut, or they're facing challenges because of the COVID scare. At the moment that is over, as of now, if you look at, these are the areas where a lot of action is happening in the healthcare area. But the other areas will come up because of late, countries our leaders are realizing the money what they've invested on defense, bombers and missiles, it is not going to help us when there is a health issue like a small tiny virus is able to shiver us, right? So that's the world which we are living in today. Now, what I will do is I will take a small break here, try to take some questions. You could pose your questions to moderator and he will try to pick up 1 or 2 questions before we go to the next level. Do you have any questions or comments before I go to the next level? If there are no questions coming in, then I will proceed to the next thing. So again,
so you can proceed. Right now, we will take in the next level.
Okay, so what I would suggest is keep your questions posted. I would be taking a break again after 5 to 10 minutes and see whether any questions coming up. If I am able to answer, I will answer. To be frank, if I don't have an answer, I will refer and come back. So whatever you feel like, because I believe, the collective knowledge of all the teachers, we have around close to 90 people plus logged in already. Your knowledge level is far, far more than mine. But then whatever level which I can try to answer, I will try my level best. If not, I'll come back. Don't worry. So this is the new definition of the new employee, which we are living in today. Why I tell these aspects is, as I told you, you have primarily 2 responsibilities. One is your career. I'm coming to that part. It's a very serious subject. Career of a faculty. To be frank, it is a neglected subject in a country like India. In my opinion, people like me or anybody else in the industry work for our salaries. I'm not saying that faculties are not working for their salaries, but then they work for building a next generation for the country. If that is the importance of that profession, I believe every faculty's career and his future is the future for the country. If the day the country understands that part, that if you go to Germany, last year, Merkel, the German chancellor, Madam made a statement in the same direction. Invest on the teachers, focus on the teachers, because they create the future with the next generation. So the other side is guiding the students properly. So let's look at the challenges your students who are going to come out in the industry very soon. What is the definition of a new employee? The old definition of employee is gone. And today we are talking about get up and work whenever is possible. There's no time zones. Work anywhere, work anytime, use any device. So the old fashion of working on only one device, those are the things is gone. Now, second, there are a couple of people trying to get in. Now, again, a new concept is coming that, how do I, the old focus, the approach with regard to work output was, okay, I've been given a task, let me do it. Now what is happening is people are looking at outcome-based approach. Means I'm happy, I will, I will be happy with you as far as your output is there. So this is a new concept called outcome-based approach. I'll explain it further in a simple example. If I strictly go by the outcome-based approach, I will go to a restaurant, I will eat my food, aram se, fill my stomach. If I'm happy with the food, I'll pay the bill. Imagine, right? I'm waiting for that day to come. And you could, instead of predefined work culture, you're going to get customized work packages. And second, yep. You also, the traditional approach, you will find people hoarding information. Here you will find people working collaborative way in a shared environment. We need leaders who can, people who can take leadership roles. We also need people who can adapt quickly. We also need, people who can share knowledge. We call it the democratized learning process and teaching process. So these are some of the things which are right now happening, and where the knowledge share is going to be like this. You all attend a lot of sessions like this, right? So you cannot even think about 5 months back these kind of sessions where multiple people come on board, they share, collaborate, and work. It is the same thing happening in corporate world today, and we do face this challenge because I'm also active in my MBA circle. So a couple of my HR juniors, they told me, Shinto, we are firing some of the people because they just don't understand this new reality. So we need to make sure that the new engineers, the youngsters, understand the new employee definition. Now, let me move to your concern area. Right now, if you ask me, the biggest challenge for a faculty is from a traditional, face-to-face teaching, you're moving towards a virtual learning environment. What are the typical challenges you would be facing? Some of them, maybe you probably might have already doing that. You might be having a lot more experience than me in this phase. Some of the things which I have captured, I've just put it across. Traditionally, you had a structured lesson plan. Now, that's become a bit difficult. Offhand, I've seen many people going just come and then they just, without any preparation, coming in front of the camera and talking. I still believe whether we are offline or online, we need to have a structured approach. We need to be in a safe environment because I do keep attending a lot of sessions. Sometimes the speaker sit in a scenario where the background, a lot of things are kept open and the privacy at home and the environment is shown to all the kids. And believe me, the biggest challenge for a teacher today is your classes are attended by not only the kids, their parents are attending it. And the words what we use, they even record it. And sometimes, the same parents come and openly make statements that, that teacher doesn't know anything, this teacher doesn't know anything. But to be frank, many of these parents don't know the kind of pressure this faculty is undergoing. So as faculties, we have a lot of pressure on these areas to adapt to new area using, active technology platforms like, you can even think about using a learning management system, LMS, like a platform. In-house universities should explore developing such. If not, you have freeware platforms are available, which you can actually adapt and customize for your organizations. Motivating and engaging people. Self-motivation is a key challenge because if you are not motivated, because with all this stress happening around us, it is difficult to motivate the kids. And becoming a subject matter expert, because when you want to influence people in a virtual environment, your subject knowledge matters a lot. So we need to do a little more extra preparation so that the students feel that, okay, this fellow knows the subject properly. And the trouble doesn't end there. We have more things on the table. We also need to make sure that we have a better connectivity. How do we engage the students using cartoons or polling or whatever methodologies you have? A lot of tools are available today. My request to all of you is please try to utilize these latest technologies that can work. Could be, as I told the videos or LMS based pre-recorded videos or even third-party videos from YouTube, which you can insert into your teaching methodology. That type of approach will make sure that kids are not sleeping. And today we have platforms which will give you clear understanding that what is this kid is really doing. Companies like mine, when we do a webinar like this, for me every week. Yesterday I had a whole session for the Asian region on a specific technical subject. But then end of the session, my backend team gives me a report. Shinto, at this point, slide number 31, this many people switched. Look into your way of presentation. Something went wrong there. At this point, many people were sleeping. So we have technologies available today to analyze the pattern of your audience also. So dress up properly, because ideally, if you can do a video-based approach, will really help in engaging the attendees. Attendees may not be able to do it in a video mode because bandwidth is a challenge. redefine some of your existing policies towards conducting exams, conducting assignments. All these things can be rewritten. I know it is difficult in an established your ATU or traditional university system, but then I do see a lot of positive things. In fact, a couple of weeks back, I was in a small chat room discussion with our Pro VC, which is again ex-principal of PKM. I'm so fascinated to see that, he has, the moment the COVID scenario started, he has already started thinking in this direction. So there are people who are in academic circle who are very passionate about, these aspects, which could change the way education and teaching methodologies have been. And your audience is no more Indian, right? You could look at creating an audience, creating small courses that could, work beyond the boundaries. I'm coming to that area. How today modern teachers can evolve. The definition of teaching is completely changing. COVID is the biggest disruptor. We need to take advantage of that. So what I will do is, I will have one or two more slides, then I will take maybe some questions. Keep your questions ready. So your challenges doesn't end at the academic front. You do have a big stress at home because we are, for example, I'm running this. I've taken over my daughter's room, and daytime they're not allowed to enter into this room. I'm full time into calls, meetings, because even now I do have people working in multiple countries in my team. So naturally, I'm full time engaged. Imagine as a teacher, when you are teaching, you need to make sure that you are managing your stress level properly. I would recommend that meditation, yoga, all those things. This is the time to think about it. And many other factors like the time what we spend on the road, all those things is gone nowadays. So naturally, we have extra time. Please walk morning and evening. These are the things which I'm doing right now. 30 minutes in the morning and 30 minutes in the evening. I'm physically fit today. My body weight comes. So it is a golden opportunity for us to relook many things what we have been doing. Please now pass your questions in the chat room. Moderator is going to pick up and ask me this one. Syllabus and curriculum. It would need a complete rework. I think all of you understand there is a big difference between syllabus and curriculum. And many times I've seen people, academicians also using this, misusing it quite now and then. Because nowadays I do sit on the academic advisory board or council in a couple of universities. And I don't get time. Many times, at least people send me some documents, can you just review this? They know that I have a passion towards this. I don't do it myself. I've got very good managers under me. I give it to them. Can you look at this? What do you think where they can improve upon? So there is a lot more could be done by collectively saying that, where we can improve upon some of these areas. And second, yes, these are some of the opportunities which you can look at it. Your students can do a global collaboration. Faculties can do a global collaboration. Like these kind of platforms, you come across and meet a lot of people in a virtual environment. So in today's world, I always say networking is a key thing. As a faculty, one should network, not only in your circle. IEEE is the classic example. That platform gives you enough opportunity to collaborate and network with others. So the extra time which we get, we could utilize it for learning new things, collaborate and network with people. Your assignments and exams pattern, like you have the open book exams are coming. So we need to practice it in a different way that how we smartly conduct an open book exam. It is a way of life for us, whether we like it or not. I keep on reading articles where people openly criticizing open book exam. My question is, what else we can do today? These kids need engineering degree. These kids need to conduct their assignments. Why was? So we need to adapt. It's because I also work with one of the universities where closely I'm watching what they do. And believe me, both the places, they conducted their degree exams, the certificates are getting issued. Since I'm there in the academic council, I know what is happening there. So That's the way, I know there are limitations in a established government university system like ATU kind of places. There are limitations. But then that is where actually the leadership is now going to step in, and why I request to faculties actually support these changes, because that's the need of the hour for the benefit of the students, for our own benefit. The cost of delivery and teaching is coming down drastically. We probably may not need huge universities going forward. The latest report says 1/3 of UK universities either will close down or bankrupt if Indian students are not reaching UK. That's the latest study. The same problem is there with the New Zealand. New Zealand, foreign education is one of the third or fourth largest forex revenue source for New Zealand. So you can imagine what impact the COVID will have on, because people, these international students are not able to travel, right? So you have a wider audience, wider canvas available, and as teachers, I would say we are brands by ourselves. Many a times, probably we mistake that. We think that we are traditional teachers definition. Gone are the days. COVID is as I told you, take COVID as the biggest disruptor. Definition of the teacher in modern world is someone who can influence, like I told you, the teachers who influenced me. Today, you are able to inspire a lot of people with your thoughts and actions in a different virtual environment. So use that, publish your stuff, and there are a lot of platforms. And here is the thing. The teacher today is assessed by others. But going forward, I would say, as a teacher, we will be doing more of self-evaluation, self-certification, self-motivation, self-evidence creation for our own growth, because the traditional hierarchy of principal controlling the HOD controlling the rest of the professors, and professor controlling the assistant professors. So that hierarchy is getting questioned. So we need to come up with innovative ways of tools of managing people. So in my organization, within 45 days of COVID, we are a different organization today. So what I did is the traditional hierarchical structure of my company, I made it upside down. As a head of the organization, I said, we are going to work in a different way. We picked up leaders at the lowest level and empowered them, started forming teams around them. The entire company was divided into 6 teams. Now I told none of the senior managers are leading these teams. The juniors are the one leading these teams. You know the impact? The juniors get charged up. And believe me, they are the ones who are the youngsters, early 20s. You will see real energy and fun coming from the younger lot. So the senior faculties who are listening to me, I know it is not so easy. Academic environment is slightly different from the corporate world. Whatever I am telling my organization is a matter of decision. Mine is a multinational company. I just convince my board, 24 hours, the action starts. That kind of agility we cannot do in academic world. However, there is a way. There is a way that when collectively people come together and decide, changes can be made. Now that's where I said, this is a great opportunity for us to learn, collaborate, and surrounded by the right set of positive-minded people. That matters a lot. I don't know how many of you have seen a lot of suicides happen. Have you ever analyzed why people are suiciding? The core reason is they don't have, like anybody else, as a faculty, just look at it. Faculties are probably more vulnerable. Why I am saying this is, you can't interact much with the students at the free way. You have a social stigma as a professor, because you get the title of professor. I know my wife is a teacher, so she always gets confined to the teacher's hat. So teachers should not not have entertainment. Teachers should not go for partying. Teachers should not do that. Teachers should not do this. And my next question is, how the teachers, relax? Teacher is also a human being, right? So as teachers, I think we need to find ways to relax. We need to cool down ourselves. That is where I strongly recommend platforms like, tools like yoga or meditation, listening to music. For me, music is a passion. I don't sing. If I sing, all of you will switch off the machine and run away. Luckily, my daughter sings. I don't even know. how they sing it. But then I encourage, I like music. I listen to, every day at least 30, 40 songs, if not full, at least little bit here and there. That is one thing which cools me down. So find your own areas where you can cool down and find some buddies, like-minded, close buddies. It is a simple psychological tool. We need to have, like any other individual, you also need to have buddies around you, faculty buddies or friends, childhood friends or whomever it could be, because we need those kind of social support system to cool us down, because we don't have anybody we can share. As a faculty, I face this problem in my organization. As a head of the organization, the challenges which I face on a day-to-day basis, I cannot share with many people in my organization. To be frank, I cannot even share with my HR head. So the only person is, I call my UK board, I report to my board, I share my frustrations, they say their frustration back to me, and I also talk to some of my close buddies. So that's a way. I mean, we find our own ways to relax and cool down, right? So going back further, we need to take action. What kind of action we can take is the key thing. Now here you have some questions. I'll take it before I go to the next stage. Sir, is there any questions? Somebody
Yes,
has
we have some questions.
Please.
So all the questions are relevant. Only we are asking some selected questions.
Please.
So the first question is, how much students are attentive to the online classes, or is there any method to evaluate the attentiveness of the students while attending the online classes?
It is a very good question. And second, I have answered. To be frank, the effectiveness of a face-to-face teaching, effectiveness of an online teaching, these two are not at all comparable. Online has got a lot of limitations. The only way we can overcome that is there are tools available, there are methodologies available, like in your classroom itself, how you used to hold the troublemakers. You used to ask some questions. Okay. What I used to do was, whenever I don't like a class, I used to go to the front row and sleep, because I noticed that the safest place in the classroom is the front row, because normally teachers target the back row fellows. So I was caught. So I thought the front row is the best place. I was safe there. So we also, as teachers, come up with some tools in our normal classroom. Either way, we need to find some mechanisms. One way is actually introduce concepts like polling. Keep asking questions, and whichever tools what we're using, tools, all these, Zoom or whatever you're using, WebEx or whatever platform. These platforms are now innovative. It also gives you, video-based or interactive-based, interaction environments. So use some of these techniques provided by the virtual platform itself. Second thing is, you be on a video mode. Third thing is, again, the platform gives you audit mechanism. How many of you are actually attentive? How many of you are not attentive? The tools can give you. Like I told you now, after my WebEx session, my backend person gives me a report. This many people in this particular region, Shinto, were sleeping. And typically, for example, after this session, if I have access to your backend, I will tell you how many of you are attentive, how many of you had kept it open, how many of you are actually live. That data is available today. The tools can give you this. So manage the tools at a different, the institution should be able to set it up with 2-3 levels of administration capabilities. A backend, a super administrator, the next level is someone, HOD or whomever is allocating you, and you getting something, some other tools, which again gives you some provisions for analyzing this kind of data. And to be frank, engineering is somebody which, according to me, is a self-motivated person. But gone are the days. When we were studying, we got admission because of our merit. The current generation, to be frank, most of the time get admission because they are a pain at home. I'm sorry, I assume there are no students listening to this. So to motivate these kind of students, our methodology has to change. Our subject need to be made more a bit interesting. There's a branch of study called storytelling. I do conduct training programs on art of storytelling. There's a video in YouTube. Please search. Shashi Tharoor doing an interview on Madam Sudha Murthy on one of her book releases. I cut that video. I use it in my training programs on where Madam Sudha Murthy is telling a classic example. People remember your stories. People do not remember your subject, what you taught. So put stories, connect with last week. I did a program for university VIT students. One student asked me, "You are asking me to publish articles. What do I do? I'm a student here." I said, "Do you write love letters?" "Yes, sir." I said, "You are started your journey. This is the way I started my journey, man. Please expand your love letter writing skills. You will eventually become a good author." So what I'm saying is just slightly reworking on your approach, use the right techniques and tools that is available today. A lot of platforms are available. So go a little more behind this platform. What platform is providing you? Change your approach, teaching methodologies, use more of visual approach rather than reading out and interacting with people. Like you've seen that I'm breaking in between, involving you with some questions. So again, you slow down a bit. You may not cover all the syllabus. Forget it. You may not cover all the syllabus, but then whatever you cover, it goes into their brain, right? So slightly you change the approach. You might have to take 1 or 2 classes extra to cover up, because those are the ways you can address. So any other question? One more we'll take before we proceed.
Yeah, sir. The next question is, the online teaching methodology is giving an additional financial burden to the parents, because they have to find out new gadgets to their wards, and they have to get data connectivity. Along with that, they have to pay their normal tuition fee to the colleges or the institutions. So how this can be addressed in the in an online teaching platform?
It is a question mark. I do agree. You would have seen recently the TV challenge story in Kerala. Many people were running that TV challenge. It is a big question mark. And to be frank, without equipping the kids with the right platform, at least a tablet. So this is where maybe government is one agency which can make a difference. At least kids who are requiring, change, some sort of campaign involving NGOs, school, I see some discussions happening in some of the universities where they are also looking at corporates. Can they sponsor some machine for the kids? So it is a fact actually. Even though we talk about Kerala is or even India is a rich country, there are kids who cannot afford this. And but I see a green light here. Very soon we will reach a level. We will have virtual universities like IIT Madras has started, degree courses, online degree courses at a very affordable price. Now, what will happen is kids will register for such courses, skip the regular university system, and I spoke about gig economy. You're going to have a gig university system where that extra money they will probably will divert it into buying wood machine. Those kind of things. So the teaching and learning both are going to undergo a disruption, and this is where actually some of the teachers, as many those who are listening to me, I'm sure collectively your community can do real wonders for your kids in helping them, guiding them how to resolve this problem. Sometimes I've seen that actually 10 kids who are rich in the class can pool their money to help another guy who needs the help. That faculty only can fix it. Faculty knows that if you do it for a good purpose, I'm sure that people will appreciate it. I know we need to be careful in doing all these things, because somebody can say it is done for a political purpose, it is done for a particular cause, it is done for that purpose, this purpose. So it is, if it is done with a intention in a professional way, people appreciate. I mean, you've seen when bad times comes, that is the time people behave in the best way, according to me. So I would continue this, and keep your questions ready. I will try to address as many as possible. Now, we are living in a world where we all say that engineering education and life of a faculty Both are on a crossroad. I make this statement. Engineering education and career of faculties both are on crossroads in India. Sorry to make this negative statement. As of last year beginning, we have identified close to at least 1/3 of the engineering colleges in India is worth shutting. Who should be blamed for this? Not academic community. The real culprit is industry. People like me, I'm part of the industry, and I see this argument happening between academy and industry quite often. I've attended so many discussions, and quite often, whenever I join, I'm on the academician side. If you analyze this, because I was so lucky to be part of India's IT revolution, started way back in 90s. When I did my MBA, people like Madam Sudhamurthy, Narayan Murthy, Daspai, these are the people who taught me in Christ. I've seen the evolution of, a 50 crore Infosys evolving as, a 10 billion plus mammoth. So when this transition happened, what has happened is suddenly the industry asked for only, they never asked for quality. Quantity came, but now the quality never came. So when a shakeup happens like this, we need quality output. So today there is no quality. That calls for questioning some of our approaches in the industry. Now, today you hear about full stack developer, 360-degree developer, blah 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 blah. So many terminologies in the market. If a student understands how from the beginning to end a product is developed, unfortunately that is not happening. In our engineering classrooms also, what has happened, I tell you, because of the IT boom, people never gave importance on the subjects, fundamental subjects, including someone like me. I did not study some of my subjects when I was there in engineering. I openly admit it. But when I started working, I had customers like VSSC who is firing a rocket, someone who is making a torpedo, someone who is making a nuclear reactor, someone who is making an accelerator or even laser accelerator. I started getting questions. I was only able to open my mouth. I don't know. I had to go back and study concepts like control theory, transducers, right from the electronic circuits. I was forced to learn operating system, the book, network theory. All these books I have sold it. I went to Bangalore Road and purchased these books from the second-hand showroom, started reading it. And my wife asked me, that was just time we got married. She said, you should have studied these basic things in engineering, man. I said, I regret, but I really need to survive. I need all these things. So as teachers, I would say, make sure that, you give an overall picture about the thing rather than, just learning Java, just learning .NET. Sorry, that is not engineering education. Those are the engineers finding a problem today. So let me come to this topic that, how a faculty could evolve over a period. Because when I say that, I spoke about, a lot of challenges for the faculties, but I also need to tell you, how do you grow in today's virtual world? Every faculty starts in a teaching environment as an entry-level worker. It's a standard slide. That's why I use the word, sorry, to use the word entry-level worker and entry-level faculty. Or a JRF or any of such profiles. This is a standard pattern. It is applicable for every profession. At that level, you only know about yourself. You don't know about others because you studied in an engineering college, or you did your MTech, or probably you did your PhD. You don't know many people. So you're suddenly going to an environment where you are slowly trying to prove yourself as a person who knows something. You're trying to learn. You're trying to please a lot of people. You're financially weak, you're not happy because you're working full time, you don't have time. And that's the time you try to probably do a master's or your specialization course and you prove a little bit that I know something. You probably will get a promotion, your salary slightly goes up, money slightly goes up. Over a period, you try to look at, who knows you. Eventually, that's what matters, right? Who knows you? But before that, there's a stage called, whom you know. So you try to look at, around you. That is where actually platforms like the IEEE will help you. whom you know before others know you, whom we know, that matters. So again, we start building our knowledge. We start getting specialized knowledge on a particular subject. You are known in the industry or academic circle as a subject matter expert. And believe me, without proving our competency as a subject matter expert, today, nobody, whether it's a faculty or a techie, nobody can survive in today's world. Because especially we're living in a virtual world. Even in a classroom, imagine, can you think about a scenario without knowing the subject properly, you can get the respect from the students? Impossible. You can say, call me sir. But then, sir has got so many definitions. I give one definition. If I tell that definition, you may not attend my class further, my session further. So when you meet me personally, I'll tell you the definition of sir, which I give. So, but then, if somebody calls us, but with respect that sir, it's a different thing. That respect will come through this evolution, where they look at you as a role model, they look at you as a thought leader on a particular subject, and eventually you're able to influence a kid's destiny. I gave 2 examples, right? My PU class teacher, my engineering professor. Both were turning point for me. I'll name them. You all studied physics in PU classroom. We had Dr. T.V. Thomas, sir. The physics books in degree and PU was written by Dr. T.V. Thomas. I'm referring the same Dr. T.V. Thomas. In engineering, I had Dr. Ajay Kumar, who was the director of IT cell in Kerala University. He was my professor in TKM. He's the one who told me, Shinto, you have a wider world. Don't worry too much about these things. You probably need to go in a different direction. Forget your engineering. You probably need to switch your path. So I went in a different direction. So teachers can become a great motivator, great inspirator, and over a period, when you become an influential thought leader, your financial soundness comes. You have more time to spend on, because you probably will be having somebody doing research under you. So you probably will be getting most of the work done by your students or researchers. Increase your collaborations both in the industry and academic circle. You'll have more money, you'll have more time to spend with others and your family. And these are some of the traits a typical influential thought leader, whether you are in that industry or academy. You're consistent, you have a powerful pitch, you probably, communicate very clearly, not like, someone, I have a great, world leader who comes tell something in the morning, and the evening he tells something else in the Twitter. Not like that. Be consistent in whatever we say. You have a great network in the industry. I suggest, as a faculty member, my sincere request, increase your network in the industry. It could be directly done, it could be done through your students, because students are your ambassadors in the industry. So your connect in the industry works a lot from your career point of view, placing your students in future, because today's students look at a faculty for guidance, for placements, and sometimes they also face a lot of financial problems in today's scenario. That's what all problems comes to your teacher, you can imagine. Many a times, sometimes it is psychological problems, love breaks, and eventually the teacher become a love guru. I can imagine, because I do mentoring for people. That's why, these are the problems which come to my table. They become well-known speakers, authors. So please start publishing papers. There are a lot of conferences. Let them accept or reject your paper. Doesn't matter. Please submit it. And you can even think about having a blog. I don't know how many of you are having a LinkedIn account. Please start a LinkedIn account. That's where your professionalism comes into picture. You just look at, if you're not there, you're there in LinkedIn, connect with me, just watch what I do. Most of my audience I create through the activities which I do, either directly from the company side or through networking with the alumni network, or social activities or industry bodies. I drive my traffic. I find my way to reach out to new audiences wherever I want. And if you are a good thought leader, what happens is your arguments, people will listen, and you will be probably heard by others. You will be staying in the spotlight because you'll be talking, you'll be publishing, and others will look at you for mentoring. As a teacher, to be frank, the biggest quality you can develop is mentoring. And the moment you become a great mentor, what happens is the connect what you build with your mentee is something else. They do anything. Tomorrow, I'm sure that you're not asking for money. You're not asking to go and kill somebody. No, I do in LinkedIn, to be frank. I'm not a paid user of LinkedIn, but I get a lot of features in LinkedIn free because I do mentoring in LinkedIn. So monthly, I need to give answers for a couple of youngsters who are asking me questions. They're all working professionals. So you could evolve over a period as a great mentor, okay, in the academics community itself. You don't have to go to a corporate world to do that. And once you do this, all these things, what happens? People like to work with you. I have people working with me for the last 15 years without quitting. When I moved to my job, some of my great managers moved along with me. After some time, within 1 year, they came and joined me. So people work for managers, not for the company. Okay. Now, you position it rightly, you publish things, you collaborate, and you evolve over a period as a role model with the networking, as with showing your expertise. And this is where you start. You start pitching. Eventually, you want to become a thought leader, not in the academic community. So you start pitching, you positioning at the right level, you build your profile. You need to have at least a half-page profile written, and build your. Some of you are active in Facebook and all those things. It is good. I'm not saying that is not Facebook is bad or something. Please be active in LinkedIn. There are a lot of groups, a lot of discussions happening. You can also follow a lot of thought leaders in LinkedIn. I follow around 150 great minds across the world. So I watch them, I read whatever they publish. It's a great inspiration for me. And you also get applications like MentorBox. I don't know how many of you use such platform. MentorBox gives you, abstracts of books. I don't have time to read 100 books a month. So I just go and pick up these kind of apps. I pay, of course, $5-6 a month. It's a nominal fee. I pay, and then, I get excellent interviews, keep attending a lot of things. That's a way to learn, right? So you could start publishing, you could build your own publications, improve your connectivity. Connections matters a lot. Your connections help you to amplify your reach in the industry, academia. And finally, my conclusion is that in today's virtual world, the old hierarchical way of command and control, whether it's you are in corporate, whether we are in academic, that is gone. That is gone. And I don't know how many of you know the psychological principles. Anything what we practice for 21 days, it become a habit. Means 21 days if you do a virtual learning, 22nd the day, your kid get used to it. As a teacher, you get used to it. So if that is the future, probably we will have to redefine our approach towards learning, approach towards teaching. So naturally, I would recommend that set a long-term goal, develop a purpose, because I do conduct programs on career planning, vision setting, those kind of areas also. So the right approach you can do is set a purpose for your life. Slightly different from the traditional definition. The traditional definition is say that, teaching is my passion. That is why I'm doing all these things. I slightly differ on that. You can keep your passion, very good. But then that passion, you should be able to link with your purpose in life. If you say, I wanted to inspire next generation kids as great engineers, for that, I have taken teaching as a profession. It is a means to achieve it. It is not my purpose, right? The purpose is basically, I want to inspire the next generation of engineers to do great things. You have redefined your life in your purpose. So once you have that, you will work backward. Okay, how do I achieve? I have so many set of activities. I need to be an influential thought leader. Then only I can achieve that, right? Put a plan backward, work towards. If you need any help, I would be happy to share whatever experiences I have in the industry, because since I've been involved in this kind of activities with faculties, with scientists, with every exercise, for me, I used to look at this, what do I learn from this exercise? Because actually interacting with a lot of great minds whose collective experience and intellectual skills are far, far superior than me. So, മലയാളത്തിൽ ചൊല്ലുണ്ട് പിന്നെ മുല്ലപ്പൊമ്പടി ഏറ്റുകിടക്കും കല്ലിനുമുണ്ടൊരു സൗരഭ്യം. Same. I mean, collectively we learn a lot. So that's it. So I wish you all a great future, and you can inspire a lot of people in your life, provided you inspire yourself. Thank you. So I work for a company called LDRA. Luckily, this company is started by a professor from Liverpool University. Thanks to them, they led me to do all these activities. Even I told we started an academic program exclusively for India, because I found that India is the land of skills. So that's it. And yeah, whatever time available, I'll try to take as many questions as possible. Thank you. Really appreciate listening. In fact,
sir, there's a big question, because most of them participants are faculty members. Our little bit worry is about how can we have a fair online assessment, that is from examination point of view, or can you suggest some innovative online assessment techniques?
Okay. Fair is again a relative terminology. Okay. However you try to make it fair and mean, today's kids find it to break it. So we need to accept the reality. One way to approach that issue is the traditional way of examination, of asking objective type questions where you can find answers in Google. Forget it. You probably need to change the thinking pattern, come up with some problem statements, open-ended questions, and tell them, guys, you keep your book open. Openly, you should tell them. Why do you keep your books open? Yeah, you search wherever you want. I need answers for these problems. It is a big challenge to come up with that kind of problem statement to make them to think. And I look at this from a different angle, because I used to get involved with this kind of discussions in earlier days. The difference between our education in Indian context, in fact, higher education in India is due for a complete dismantling, according to me. This way of teaching, this way of learning is actually not going to help the next generation. I would recommend you to visit the World Economic Forum forecast, which talks about the most interesting or important skills that is required for the current generation is critical thinking and creative thinking, not the traditional skills. Critical thinking and traditional creative thinking, the fundamental principle is basically questioning the questioning process. The concepts like design thinking. I would strongly recommend each of you to go to YouTube, learn the subject called design thinking, which actually helps you to question the current processes, what we are doing right now, come up with innovative ways to reach out to your kids, and come up with the open book policy. Because even if you tell the kid, don't open the book, he will find the way to open. You can have video-based system. How far you are able to, you have to trust. Now the second thing is building the concept of trust. Trust is a concept which is evolving very fast in this virtual world. So we need to come up with some tools which will work on a mutual beneficial basis. And as a faculty, we need to work around this concept called trust. Again, it's a branch of study. This needs a lot of time to discuss and explain with you how to build trust with others, including with the kids, so we need to give them a confidence to the kid that, I trust you, man, that, you are not going to cheat. So it is a thin line. Even after doing that also, I'm sure what will happen, you can imagine. But then if we are able to do that, and you coming up with innovative ways of engaging them, assessment techniques, if you see one of the slides I said, The university has to completely dismantle the assessment techniques which we are following right now. And more freedom has to be given to the faculties, empower the faculties, which is not there right now. Right now, actually, faculties are looked at or totally from a suspicious angle. When the faculties are not trusted, and that's why I use the word trust. Trust is the key thing. Without compromising integrity, and this is where again teaching profession comes under a question mark. How far we can keep our integrity on the table? I'll give you an example. I run an MNC. I can sign any number of crores of check in my account. But then over a period, I've reached that trust level with my board in UK. They know that this fellow will not cut such a check to his personal benefit. So that type of trust is something which we need to work on. And I know it's not so easy. It's easy to say all these things. And why I mentioned an example is this is something which I have done in my, my own life. So as the teachers, it is a question of trust, how you build with the institution, with the authorities, and collectively going and convincing. Some of the practices you can do outside the university system itself. Even if university is taking time, you can come up with some methodologies which are very flexible, looking at the benefit of the students. Yeah, next question, sir.
Sir, I think almost the questions are over. Thank you, sir. It's a very good and informative session. So you have clearly discussed the real challenge in front of the academic community in the world of uncertainties and constant changes. As you said, we should keep oneself and our students motivated as they are passing through a negative mood, as well as the increasing number of distractions at home. As you discussed, the online teaching platform and also the social media platforms like LinkedIn give an excellent opportunity for faculties to develop their thought leadership to a wider canvas beyond their traditional campuses. I also thank all the participants for your listening to the webinar. Thank you once again, sir, for your valuable words.
Thank you once again to IEEE for arranging such a session. I mean, as I told you, for me, it is a different way of looking at things. And as teachers, if you feel that, if you need any help to guide your students, please let me know, because I do conduct a lot of programs for students also, because students have got a different problem. They assume many things, they get frustrated, they get misguided. And the latest trend which I'm seeing is just keep an eye on what is happening. The number of drug captures in our community is increasing very high. And one of the reasons actually they're getting into frustration mode with COVID, we need to keep an eye on our kids. And because as I told you, kids are our future. So whether it's my kid or somebody else's kid, as a faculty, according to me, we have a great responsibility which goes beyond just teaching an engineering subject. Thanks a lot.
I request all the participants to remain in the WhatsApp group from today for knowing future webinars conducted on every Thursday.
Yeah.
Okay, sir.
Thank you, Shinto. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I also really enjoyed.
Great talk. Dr. Nasir was also attending the talk.
Wow. I was his first batch, sir, when he started his profession.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he will never forget me. I was such a troublemaker.
Okay.
Good, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Shinto.